Hello, buddy. Welcome back to Tin Man's Core Channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. Today, I reacted my second Spooky Vibes video for you guys, and this was titled 3 True Home Alone Horror Stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the bag, shall we? Okay, here we go.
This story happened about 2 years ago.
Okay.
My husband and I had just had our newborn son, Carter. We had also just moved into our new house out in North Carolina.
Oh, that's nice.
My husband worked for a trucking company, and I stay home to take care of our son. Well, with my husband's job, he normally works overnight shifts. It's not uncommon for him to come home from work at 7 or 8 in the morning. It was August, and my husband was working an overnight shift as usual, which left me and Carter alone at the new house. I honestly didn't mind him working overnight shifts. I found the time by myself peaceful and relaxing.
Oh, yeah, I can see that because you can get stuff around the house done quicker, tend to your newborn baby, and just either watch TV or nap. But that's cool that you guys live in North Carolina, like me. But anyway, let's continue with the story and see what happens next.
But anyway, it was around 10 p.m. at night, and I had just checked on Carter in his crib. He was sleeping soundly. I decided that I was hungry and went downstairs to our kitchen to grab some leftovers that we had from a restaurant that we went to recently. I was heating up the leftovers in our microwave when I decided to look at our back kitchen window, which faced the woods and the trees. I was expecting to see the moon and maybe some stars above. But what I was not expecting to see was a man's face pressed up against the window. Like, this guy's face was plastered to the window.
Oh, heck no, I'll be jumping back. If I saw somebody staring through the window like that, then I'll be running to the phone and calling the cops. He probably knows that your husband ain't there to protect you and your baby. Oh boy, this ain't good.
And watching my every move inside, I screamed like hell. I screamed so loud that I could hear Carter upstairs starting to cry. I grabbed a kitchen knife and locked myself upstairs in my son's room. And I called my husband and told him that there was a strange man looking at me through the windows. He said to stay locked in the room that I was in and to call the police. I did what he said. Police came out and, of course, they couldn't find the man anywhere. I filed a report and the police said they would drive by our house for the next couple of nights. Well, the next day, after my husband got home, we decided to walk around our property a bit, just to see if we could find out anything.
Figured that guy saw you screaming and running up with a kitchen knife, he'd probably be like, yeah, I ain't messing with her. So he figured he skedaddled. But let's just see if her and her husband find any clues about that man being there that the cops might have overlooked.
And dear God Almighty, did we find something.
What?
On the outskirts of our property, I'm talking maybe 80 yards out, my husband and I found this sort of makeshift tent that was barely held up with logs and this tattered blue tarp. We pulled the tarp back and couldn't believe what we found inside. It was stolen stuff from our house. We found my blouse and 2 of my husband's t-shirts. We found canned food from our pantry and K-cups. But the most disturbing thing that we found were the photos that were pinned up to the tarp. They were selfies of the guy that I saw last night in my window. There was a selfie of him in our bed, one in our living room, and even one in our son's room. And I cannot tell you how violated we felt and how terrified that this man had stolen from us and been in our house.
Yeah, I believe you. I feel violated right now just hearing that. Just think that you moved into a nice house and you think it was secure while your husband's trucking to make a living for you guys, and all that's out the window because there's a guy who literally stole stuff from you and he took pictures of inside of your house. Heck no. Call the cops back and tell them to look at this. Then they know to continue their search further in the woods. But I got a feeling that guy's probably long gone by now. Man, I feel sorry for this couple.
The guy was never found. We burned his makeshift tent. We now have 3 pit bulls and 1 gun each in the house. We haven't seen the guy since. And if we ever do, it's shoot first and ask questions later. Thanks for listening.
Hey, I'm glad you got some guns and some pit bulls, because I know that guy came back and he saw them pit bulls, he'll be running. And they start charging after him, and then you fired a gun to make him fall down on the ground. I'm glad they burned his makeshift camp down, because it'll give him a sign that if he did come back, he's now welcome. I'm just glad that they're okay. But anyway, let's get to story number 2.
So, a few months ago, I was sleeping over at my good friend Ashley's house. And for context, we're both 16 and female.
Okay.
Ashley's parents were away at their beach house for the weekend, which meant that we had the house to ourselves.
You know, to be honest with you, back when I was in school, I wished I had the ability to hang out with some of my classmates. I never did, because I was more focused on my schoolwork, but besides that, if I got an invite to stay at their house while the parents are gone, I mean, hey, I'll be down, and be respectful to their property. Make sure nothing gets broken, of course. But so far, sounds like they're going to have a good time in the beginning of the story.
We were eating junk food and watching some dumb horror movie on Netflix when there was a knock at the front door. It was almost 11 at night at this point. We were home alone and we were watching a horror movie, so our nerves were already high enough. We debated on answering it because we didn't know who would be knocking this late. There was another knock. We both decided that we would answer it together. We opened our front door, and there were 2 guys standing there. They had to be in their mid-20s. They both had on jeans and a t-shirt. When we opened the door, they said they were here to deliver a pizza. The first problem with that was, we didn't order any pizzas. The second problem was, even if they were here to deliver a pizza, they didn't have any pizza boxes or bags in their hands. There were literally just 2 dudes standing at our front door.
At least these girls were smart enough to figure that out. But also, another thing that's wrong with that, there's always usually one person delivering food to people's residence. So I'll be wondering, why is there 2 guys here? At this point, I'll be like, you got the wrong house, I'm sorry. Close the door and call the police before these guys decide to kick down the door or break a window open just to get you, since they know you're in the house.
We told them sorry, we didn't order anything.
Right.
They pretty much ignored that and then asked if they could come inside. At that point, I slammed the front door in their faces. I locked the door and yelled from behind it, "They need to leave now or we're calling the cops." And I could hear one of them say something about a pizza and being rude, but I didn't care. Ashley and I went around the whole house and made sure the windows and doors were locked. We texted her parents too, and let them know that there was 2 strange dudes being weird outside. After we watched the 2 guys walk off into the night, we figured that we were both safe. But we were wrong. Maybe 2 hours after that happened, we had both fallen asleep in the living room watching some TV show. I remember that's when Ashley shook me awake frantically. I asked her what's wrong, but she covered my mouth and shushed me. She whispered softly and said that someone's inside the house. We both sat there quietly and listened. That's when I could hear footsteps creaking from upstairs. It was unmistakable that something or someone was moving around up there.
Okay, I'd be like to know, how in the world did they get in the house without them knowing? Because I figured if people were like dead asleep on the couch and they broke a window or door in, then they probably would have heard that just to alert them to get up. Unless they had lock-picking tools. You see, this is why you should always call the cops right then and there after you shut the door on somebody that are acting suspiciously. Because you never know, they might just come around when they see that you're sleeping and break in anyway. They're probably upstairs looking for something valuable.
We didn't move from our spot. Ashley quietly dialed 911. Within 10 minutes, an officer was out at our place. We let him in, and he searched the whole house. When we went upstairs, Ashley's parents' bedroom window was wide open, even though we went around the whole house and made sure that every window and door was locked. Her parents had this tiny safe box in their closet, and that was missing. which means someone had broken into it and stolen it. Ashley and I knew that it had to be those two guys posing as pizza delivery boys. We gave the police the best descriptions possible about them. This investigation is still ongoing. No one has been caught yet. I just thank God that they didn't do anything to us while we were asleep. Like, they could have killed us or kidnapped us. Ashley's parents are glad that we're okay. The thieves got away with some high-end watches and jewelry. If they ever catch the guys, I'll be sure to keep you posted. Stay safe out there, everyone.
Oh, man. You see, they said they locked every door and window. I don't know how in the world they were able to get the window upstairs open. Unless, like I said, they had lock-picking tools, but then again, windows don't need lock picks to open them up. You have to, slide a knife or something just to get the lock to open. And they found the safe box and must have seen that a cop was coming, so they got out of there quick. Dang it. I'm not blaming them, but if they called the cops right after they had that little altercation when them guys were walking away, they would have already been caught by now. But hopefully someone reports watches or jewelry that were sold at a pawn shop, and they might get a lead on who those men are.
Not too long ago, I was home alone while my parents were away visiting some family in upstate New York. And for context, I was a 16-year-old male at the time. It was midday, and I was at our house playing Madden when there was a knock at my front door. I went to open it up, and there was this man in his mid-30s standing there. He introduced himself as Dario and said that he was opening up a new art gallery in town and wanted to give discounts on his work to the local people to help gain attention. Honestly, he didn't seem threatening or anything like that, and I thought it might be cool to see some of the paintings, and I told him that he could show me them. The first couple of paintings he showed me were actually really good. They were of crashing waves on a beach, but after the third painting, this is where things started to get bad. The rest of the paintings he showed me were really demonic, like bestiality type stuff, people suffering in what looked like hell.
Okay, if somebody came around saying that they opened up an art gallery, I'll be like, oh, that's great. I love art. But if the guy is going through different pieces of artwork from, like he said, surfing, waves, paintings, to people being tortured in hell and demonic stuff, I'll be like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. That's a little bit too graphic. I don't know why you're showing me that. I'm not interested in that stuff. But something tells me that this guy is messed up in the head really badly.
I mean, I get that it was art, and I didn't want to judge him, but I got really uncomfortable looking at those paintings. And I was starting to politely say thank you for showing me the paintings and try to close the door. He actually put his hand up to stop me from shutting the door and asked if he could come inside. I told the man no, and to get the hell away. I slammed the front door shut and locked it. For 20 minutes, he just stood in my driveway, looking at my house. I opened up my window and told him to leave, and then he did. But it doesn't end there. Later that night, I want to say around 10:30, I was in the kitchen making myself a bowl of cereal. As I was pouring the milk, I heard this noise from behind me. We have a cat, Ace, who always comes in and out of the house through the cat flap in the kitchen door, so I figured that's what it was. But when I turned around, I shit you not, there was someone's hand and arm sticking through the cat flap, trying to reach the door handle. I ran over and stopped as hard as I could on the arm. I heard whoever it was scream out loud in agony from the other side. I pushed back the blinds of the kitchen door and saw that man Dario, who was trying to sell the paintings from earlier, sprinting off into the night. I was so scared that he was going to come back. I called my dad, and he told me to stay in the house and call the police. I did. The officer even stayed in his patrol car all night to make sure that nothing would happen. And get this, no new art gallery opened up in our town. I couldn't find any artist in the area by the name of Dario, so I have no clue what he was planning on doing by trying to break into my house that night. He was never caught, and I never saw him again.
Well, that's a big bombshell. He's probably just using that whole ploy of owning an art gallery just to look around the person's house. And if he gained entry into the house, he would know the layout and waited for the right time for him to be in bed to break in and steal stuff, probably. I bet you those paintings were not even his he done. He probably got them from different artists just to show to that boy, or he was really messed up in the head and painted his own. Either way, that's creepy. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more spooky vibes content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man Squad channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. I say that's a wrap, and happy St. Patty's Day, everybody.